Good day, everyone. Glad to have you here today. Would like to welcome everybody to our safety meeting. This month's topic is going to be golden rules, glove it or ground it. But before we get going, I'd like to everybody take a few minutes here or seconds and just discuss close calls, near misses, or accidents. Hopefully, when you get this, your safety coordinator will have a list of accidents or close calls and near misses that they can share that we've had through the state or through the country. This is a good time to talk about it. That's the way we prevent things, is going over near misses, going over close calls. Maybe it'll help somebody else and we can prevent future accidents. So please take this time to do so. Okay, let's get going with the program, guys. Line work. We basically got two ways of doing it, right? We can glove it or we can ground it. Sometimes we even play with that third way, which is what? The halfway doing it. And that's what we got to get away from. If we glove it, why do we glove it? Is it our only way to perform the task? We've got a big three-phase junction pole. We can't kill this. We can't backfeed it. We've got to work it hot. We have to keep the lights on. Or is it pride and craftsmanship? A little bit of both. A little bit of all of it, right? I know when I started in the business, I started out as a meter reader. And the linemen at our place, for a lack of better words, were like kings. Everybody looked up to them. They could do the hot stuff. They could do it hot. They could do this. It was pride and craftsmanship. If we ground it, why do we have to ground it? Line's already down, power's out. It's okay, we've got a scheduled outage. We've got a way we can backfeed it. Safest way to perform the task at hand. Most definitely if it's done correctly, yes. I listed pride and craftsmanship on this side as well because, guys, I know we don't always look at it this way, but it takes as much pride and craftsmanship to ground the line correctly as it does to do it hot. Both of them can be done, but we've got to take pride in what we do. Before we start the job, what do we got to do, guys? We've talked about it every month since I've been doing this job, I think, except for when we do CPR and bloodborne pathogens and that kind of stuff. Job briefings. We've got to conduct a job briefing. It's basically just a good form of communication that keeps everybody in check, keeps everybody in line with what's going on today. We've got to cover 5 things. We've got to cover our hazards associated with the job, our work procedures, our PPE, our energy source controls, any special precautions that pertain to us. The other thing I want to include, and if you've already adopted the 16th edition of the APPA Safety Manual, it's in there as well. There's a 6th thing that we need to make sure we go over, and that's energy response information, or 911 address. Guys, most of us, especially you young, older guys who have been in the business, we used to get directions by go down here by Henry J. Lugnut's barn, turn left, go down there past the pink house, turn right, and it'll be down there on your left. Guys, if you have an accident and you try to give 911 dispatchers those directions, it's not going to work. That's the way we go by things, but we need to know the 911 address. Please cover that in your job briefing. If something does go wrong, you're going to be glad you did. So we've decided in our job briefing that we're going to glove it. Basically, I built this on the way I had to work things back where I come from. We had 2 ways of working it. We could either work it under a caution order or we could work it under a hold order. So the first thing we had to do was get a caution order. We're going to work it hot. Caution order there is to get the device out to where we don't take 3 shots, or really 4 shots, but anyways, 3 shots is what everybody typically refers to it. It's the way our arc flash was set, so that's the way our procedures were. We had to get a caution order. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to have to ground or we're going to have to barricade the truck. And guys, I know there's people that say they barricade. In my opinion, we cannot barricade to safely protect the public and do it the way the APPA safety manual or OSHA requires us to, okay? In my opinion, the best way for us to do it is to ground the truck. What we're trying to do is get that truck to operate the device out, get a good path to ground to where that device drops out as quick as possible. The next thing is inspect and install our cover-up. I know good and well everybody here probably is getting their cover-up inspected at least annually or getting it tested. What I'm asking you to do is before you put it out there on the line with the chance of making accidental contact is at least look it over. Make sure it's in good order. If it's dirty, take time to clean it on a rainy day. Get that thing out of there until you know it's in good working order. After we get all our cover-up installed, we're going to perform the hot work. Then we'll remove our cover-up. We'll remove our truck grounds. We'll return our breaker back to normal. And off to the races we go, either to the next job or to the house for the day. Either way, our job's done, and we've safely performed the task at hand. But what about if we ground it? If we ground it, what do we got to do? Well, just a little bit of different steps. There's definitely a few more steps. Got to get a hold order. Got to get a hold order. We need to make sure that we tag it out and lock it out. Make sure we get a visual opening from all sources of feed, including back feed. We tag that opening up. We test that line that we've opened to make sure there is no voltage on it with a voltage detecting device, not fuzzing it. Not saying it's not okay to fuzz it. You can fuzz it all you want, but you still need to be checking it with a voltage detection device. Then we're going to install our equal potential grounds or our bracket grounds as close as we can to the work site. I know most of us, or at least where I come from, most of us use bracket grounding instead of equal potential ground because typically when we're grounding a line out, we've got a phase down or something, right? So bracket grounding works. What I'm asking you to do though, guys, is get those grounds as close to the work site as possible. We're trying to eliminate our possible sources of backfeed. By getting those grounds as close to the work site as possible, we're taking those things out of play. We're going to perform the task at hand. We will clear the work zone out after we get done, make sure everybody's clear. Then we will remove our grounds. We'll reinstall our jumpers. We'll release our hold order. We'll re-energize the lines and off about, here we go. We good. We got it all done. A few more steps involved there, but it takes as much pride and effort to do it that way and do it correctly as it does to do it hot. We've got two ways to do it, right? You guys know the steps, you know the procedures, you know how to perform the work correctly. Everybody's been trained. We know that. So, my question to you is this. Why are we still getting people burned? I've listed 4 things here. Is it won't happen to me? Is it we've always done it this way and nothing's ever happened? Is it laziness? Is it our attitude or our priorities? It's probably a combination of little of all 4 of them. Me personally, I think it's number 2 as much as anything. We've always done it this way and nothing's ever happened. I remember starting in the business, and some of you older guys in here probably remember it too. I hope you're not doing it today, but how many of you in this room have sit there and removed a Stinger hotline clamp number 6 copper, pin it down on the neutral and say it's grounded and go to work? Guys, we know we cannot work that way anymore. That is not going to hold up, one, to the fault current we've got. Some people's going to say, well, it's better than nothing. I guess it is, but guys, we make good money. Take the time and do it right. Put a set of grounds on it. That is the appropriate way to do it. Okay? It won't happen to me. I listed that one up there. Well, maybe it won't. But guys, I can tell you the facts are there, the numbers are there. Every 3 to 5 days we're having an accident, contacts, truck accidents. There's a good chance it will happen to you. Protect yourself. Laziness, sometimes, I don't really think you can be in this business and be lazy. You've got to have a pretty good work ethic to want to get up in the middle of the night and go get somebody's lights back on. Attitude and priority is always going to be a part of it. Our attitude and our priorities change as the day goes on. If we start off in the morning, at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, everything we do is for the company right then. But as lunchtime comes, we check out. We start thinking about what we're going to do this afternoon, what we've got to do. We got ball practice, we got whatever. We have a car wreck hit at 3 o'clock, and instead of taking the correct procedures, our mind automatically shifts to, we got to get the lights back on to where I can go home and enjoy my time off. That's our attitude. We've got to be able to change that. We've got to avoid those shortcuts, guys. It's just that simple. How do we change? Well, first we change our attitudes. Change our attitudes about grounding. We change our attitudes about shortcuts. We change our work habits. Just like I said earlier, I watched from the time I started in this business, being able to take and put a number 6 copper jumper down and ground it and say grounded, to that didn't happen anymore where I lived or where I worked. We were using grounds like we were supposed to. We evolve. We change our work habits. We grow a stronger safety program. Guys, don't know how long you've been in the business. Those that's been in the business a long time, I promise you have seen the safety culture grow expoundly over the last 30 years. There's things that we get today, whether it be equipment, whether it be tools, whatever, in the name of safety to make our job safer and easier. Our safety program's as strong now as it's ever been. We demand from ourselves to take pride in our work. That is one of the biggest things. It goes there with attitude, it goes with priorities. You guys are a brotherhood. You guys do things that a lot of people cannot do and a lot of people will not do. It's a prideful job. Do it correctly. Take pride in what you do. That's right. Not everybody can do it. What happens when we don't change? I want you guys to look at these next 7 pictures. And when we get done, I'm going to go through them. And I want to discuss something that they all have in common. We look at this one. That's the harsh reality of it, guys, if we don't change. If we don't do things correctly. You look at that picture. You look at this picture. You look at this one. There's 7 pictures right there. I'll go back through them one more time. That one. That one. And those 5 right there. Other than that one in the middle, what did all 5 of those have in common, guys? All 5 of them had one thing in common. They're all burns to the hand, right? How does that happen? How does that happen today? The simple answer is it shouldn't be happening. Those of you that have not heard me speak before have not heard me say this, but I tell the utilities that I call on, your best PPE is your head, okay? Next to the head on your shoulders, it's your rubber gloves. That's your end all to be all, guys. They don't protect you if they're not on your hands. It's that simple. And you can't get a burn on your hand unless they're off or your glove fails, and the chances of that failing on your hands are not very good, but I will say that it can happen. I doubt very seriously in these pictures that's what happened. What does it take to change, guys? What does it take? As I was putting this together, I did a quick search on YouTube of lineman burn incidents. And these are just in a short 10-minute time frame of what I saw came up. We've seen the Zach Spicer video, the Jeremy White story, and there were several of these that were very good. I included the bull grunt story for a couple of reasons, and after we play the video, I'll talk about why I included that.
If you mess up, you don't get a second chance. In certain areas, it ain't like that all on the ground and everything too, but you can get killed on the ground just as easy as you can in the air. You have to have a family that backs you. I'm happily married, have 4 beautiful kids. The one's kind of, I'm just kidding. No, I'm happily married. I have 4 beautiful kids. God has truly blessed me. I think seeing the blessing is the biggest part of the blessing, is being able to see it. When people hear the word lineman, I want them to think about power line instead of football. No matter how you want to do it, we are skilled laborers. It's hard back-breaking work. And whether it be driving a big truck, climbing a pole, or just being able to dredge through the swamp, it just ain't for everybody. Coming up under my dad, I'll take you back to 1972. My dad's on ice storm in Corsicana, Texas, and him and Gary Shrunk are switching poles. They're alternating poles. Dad stayed up on his pole longer than he should have, and he come down, and Gary told him, go ahead and sit in the truck and warm up. Well, literally, when you're on ice storm, you're using your hammer to knock ice off the pole on your way up. I mean, it's freezing. You get up there and stand on the pole for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're just frozen. And Gary told Dad, take a break in the truck. Dad's sitting in there warming up. They're going to get one more pole. And Gary climbed up there and made contact with the high side. There was a generator running in the house. Back feeds through the transformer and out the top. When he made contact with the high side, it killed him. My dad ended up climbing that pole anyway to get Gary Shrunk off of it. Your life is literally in your pole buddy's hands. I love building power line. I love it. I love the challenge. Knowing that my dad climbed a pole in 1972, that's 2 years before I was born. I wouldn't be here. Gary Shrunk climbed that pole for my dad, because my dad was cold. And then my dad climbed up there and got Gary Shrunk off of it. And that night, my dad and the foreman went to Gary Shrunk's house and told his wife and son that he wasn't coming home. So, I mean, it's real world, you know? It's never a one-man show. It's, I'm your brother, and we can get out there and box if you want to, and then when we get through, we're going to go have a beer, and it's done, you know? You forget about it, which I don't even know if you'd box a lineman. The average man wouldn't. Every lineman's a brother. Every lineman, if you work on that line, we're brothers. And I'll do anything for you, and I feel that they do the same for me. As far as clothing and everything, clearly I think Benchmark would be the one, because it's quality product made in America and they stand behind it. If that would symbolize brotherhood, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you could symbolize it in clothes. It's so deep. It's way deeper than that. We put our life on the line every day, and I want to be the best representation I can. At 5 foot tall, you're going to make a choice in life. You can either be mad at the world and end up in prison, and then that is terrible. Trust me, it's terrible. I've just seen documentaries on TV about it. But or you can make the world laugh with you. You know, if you can have fun at work and still be productive and safe, and I think you can be safer with humor. I mean, if you cutting up and having a good time, the guy's a lot more likely to say something to you that way anyway, rather than you hollering at him. He feels like he's going to get in trouble for saying something. But then again, It ain't for everybody. Everything that I thought was a failure up to this point got me right to where I am. So, made me stronger, made me who I am. My 9-year-old actually told me I was internet famous. That's how I found out. I'm most looking forward to God's path for me, to end up the end of the journey, when probably this video is played at my funeral and people can see me talking. I want to be the only person that ever speaks at their own funeral. I climb poles. Yep. All right. It's time for a pole mall, ain't it? Kill me. Coffee assistant. No.
Okay, guys. I included that in this video or in this presentation for a couple of reasons. First and foremost was to point out a fact. In 1972, which is almost 50 years ago, we were getting people burned up by generators then. And we know good and well we've got more generators out there today than we've ever had. We got more chances of backfeed today than we ever had. That's why I included that. Back then, you guys that's been in the business a long time, or even those that are still thinking it's okay to ground with a set of number 6 or a hotline clamp or a stinger and number 6 copper, I got a feeling back then they probably didn't even have a set of grounds on the line. Point is, we were still getting people killed back then. We've got to do something to change. The other reason I put that in this video, or in this PowerPoint, but rather, is the camaraderie, the pride of being a lineman. Both of those things spoke to me. Both of those things just reached out to me and said, hey, you are a prideful bunch. Take pride in the work you do. Guys, you've got 2 ways of doing it. It's real simple. We can cover it up and glove it, or we can ground it. That's the only 2 ways to do it. We don't have that third way. If we halfway it, somebody's going to get hurt. We might get by with it this time. We might get by with it the next time. But at some point in time, the numbers are there. We are going to get somebody hurt. Make the change. Let's do it right. Take pride in your craft. You can do either one of those safely. You can do it hot safe, and you can do it grounded safe. The choice is yours. Whichever you choose, follow your training. Do not take shortcuts, because your life and the people around you depend on it. Guys, I got into this business hoping that maybe I could say something, some of the things that I've done in the past that were wrong, that could change the outcome, or at least maybe you're out there one night and you think of the old bald-headed guy that said, hey, maybe we need to be doing something a little different. Please, take the time, do it right, take pride in your craft, and pass it on to the next generation. I appreciate your time. Be more than happy to take any questions. If you need me, just call. I'll be here. My phone number is, any of your safety directors can give it to you. So I'm here for you. I appreciate your time. Thank you.